Welcome to an introduction to item data review. In the previous video, we looked at the assessment development process. Today we are here. Educators, such as yourself, will review the field test data for each of the new items. About 18 months ago, the writing and editing process of these items began. About a year ago, a group of Minnesota educators and community members edited and approved the items based on their content and fairness. Then just a few months ago, the questions were field tested across the students in Minnesota using a random sampling method. And now, your group will review the items based on their performance data and alignment to the Minnesota K-12 standards. You will be advising MDE on which items to allow into the operational bank and therefore to be used for the school and district accountability measures.
In order to review these standards, you will see them and they will be compared to the MCA 3 standards, which you will also be familiar with and you're using right now. The MCA 4 standards are organized a little bit differently than the MCA 3 standards. The MCA 3 standards and benchmarks are separated into literary and informational substrands except for standard 8. And we assess standards 1 through 6 and 8. 8 has one informational benchmark. The MCA 4 standards are organized differently. Not all benchmarks are separated into literary and informational text, and although some benchmarks do specify a genre. The standards that are assessed are 4 through 9. Some of the standards have only one benchmark, some have up to 4 benchmarks. So for example, Standard 4 has 4 benchmarks, Standard 9 only has 1. Here's an example of what the MCA 4 standards end up looking like. First we have the grade, then we have the strand, reading, and then we have the anchor standard. This would be referred to as SSB 4, read critically to comprehend, interpret, and analyze themes and critical ideas in complex literary and informational texts. Then we have our coding. The first number is the grade, the second is 1 for strand. 4, as we just saw, is the anchor standard. And then 1 means this is the first benchmark in this standard. In this case, the benchmark is cite textual evidence.
Thank you. This concludes the training video on the introduction to item data review.